Hey, Tara, we flipped a coin on who was going to talk first, man. And the coin never lies, does it, Terry? The coin never lies. We flipped a
Well,
coin.
you got to go first, as per the coin.
Touche. I busted out the lucky penny. Now I can't find it. Great job, Adam. Hey, welcome back to the Almost Sideshow. My name is Adam, and I'm joined, as always, by our good buddy, Terry. Really excited to breaking down Breaking Bad, Episode 3. And what was the episode title? And the bags in the river.
Bad.
Do it again. I talked over that.
Oh, you did. You did.
Breakdown of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, breaking down. Yeah, we could just if somebody can like hit that to like some kind of beat or like some kind of beat, that'd be kind of funny. So
That would be.
Terry, how we doing,
Also,
man?
there's nothing like a visual gag on an audio medium. Well done, Adam. Can't find your penny.
Well, playing to half the audience, apparently. I have a face made for radio. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm excited about this one. This is this is a show that really kind of jumps into it, and this episode really is the heart of Breaking Bad in so many ways, where you've got some lighthearted moments, and then you've got some just devastating, gripping drama at the same time. It's a perfect capsule of what Breaking Bad can bring you.
Yeah, and you asked me this last week too. Is like, what do I honestly remember? There's a lot of this episode I actually do. I love this interaction between Crazy 8 and Walt, and of course we'll dive into that. I'm sure because that's most of the episode. But it's a really great interaction. It's a really powerful scene in the first 3 episodes. That's definitely going to be one of the highlights, probably, of this season. I also really like a lot of the other, like, kind of the moments that we do share. There's not a whole lot of new characters, but there's some familiar.
There's a few though.
There's a sprinkling of minor characters out there, but it's also good, like, just getting back into those character moments and seeing where the characters are at after 3 episodes, and it's very exciting to be able to get to dive into this. So without further ado, I think we should just talk about this.
Let's do it. Are we talking about this?
We're actually
talking about this.
We're actually talking about this. Let's do it. All right. Breaking Bad Season 1, Episode 3 is entitled "And the Bags in the River."
Mm-hmm.
Last episode was Cats in the Bag. Now the bag is in the river. All right. Here we go. Here's what happens. As Walt and Jessie clean up the mess from the bathtub incident, Walt begins to think back to an earlier time when he contemplated what makes a life. With Miles' ex-wife, there's something going on there. He is that in Sideways, Miles' ex-wife.
Oh,
that's
okay.
yeah.
It's an Inception thing you just did.
Also, it's also Ross's ex-wife's lover. She pops up all the time. I mean, it's a like guaranteed best new face. Anyways, he is continuing to work on what to do with Crazy 8 in the basement. Meanwhile, Skyler begins to explore what Walt's pot use could mean. Marie misinterprets and thinks Walter Jr. is smoking pot. So, while Marie is busy stealing a pair of heels, she convinces Hank to take the kid on a come-to-Jesus field trip to the wrong side of town, where they almost run into Jessie. Jessie is hiding out, waiting for Walt to do the deed that they agreed to, as per the coin. Walt decides to get to know Crazy 8 to help him decide, especially after he passes out in front of Crazy 8 and reveals he has cancer. Walt comes to like Crazy 8 and decides he is going to let him go until he realizes he has stashed away a piece of broken plate from his fall. Instead of letting him go, he strangles him with the bike lock around his neck while Crazy 8 swings wildly, stabbing Walt's leg. The episode ends with 2 revelations. First, Walt is going to reveal something to Skyler, and Hank and Gomi have discovered the cook site. They find Crazy 8's abandoned car, the sample of Walt's meth, and the gas mask that was dropped. Oh, and Crazy 8 was a DEA informant. Da da da.
Nice. Wow,
All
what a
right,
lot of
there it
stuff
is.
happened. Yeah, a lot of
A
stuff did
lot
happen.
happened. A lot happened. So, what'd you think?
That's like the plate on the screen here. It is a lot of shatterings is happening in this thing. This,
Well
yeah,
played.
this
Well
was a try. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff definitely that happened here. We had more of Marie, which I'm unsure about this character up to this point because we don't have a whole lot to go on with her and Skylar. Uh, but Walt is at this uh, crossroads, I guess, and contemplation about what to do with this problem downstairs with Crazy Eight, and the whole back and forth. There, it's kind of funny how you can go down this road and like of contemplation and getting to know somebody, and also have like share a moment of nostalgia about a television commercial that his father's a furniture warehouse, and bringing back old memories too. And then at the end of the day, you put the pieces together in of a plate, and you realize, oh gosh, it pushes you to the edge. It's kind of funny, even though that I feel like he really wanted to save him. Obviously, he got the key out, and then something snaps. Like, wait a second, there's something not right here. And yeah, I really like this episode a lot. It's probably the best episode up to this point. I think they're getting better. I loved how this one was shot. I love my favorite image of the whole episode is the one of when Walt's finally coming downstairs because he has to kill Crazy Eight, and he opens that door and everything's black, and you see like his shadow. That is such an awesome image of Walt White because it's like he is completely taken over by this darkness now of the task at hand.
Mm,
Very good imagery there from Vince Gilligan. Or yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, what about you? What comes from your little quick highlights, takeaways?
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that shot and representing that, but that's a great way of looking at it. Um, the very first shot of the episode, I told you we were going to have more of those perspective shots from
Yep,
underneath,
I
and
dig
we
it.
we
I dig it.
start with one. They, like I said, they keep popping up. You're gonna come to have a love hate relationship for Marie, because she is just annoying but fascinating at the same time. And one thing, I've watched it through this thing quite a bit, and my wife is the one that pointed this out. One thing if you haven't noticed it yet, everything with Marie is purple. You haven't noticed it yet. Once you notice it, you can never unnotice it. Everything is purple. The shoes she steals are purple. She wears
Oh,
a
okay.
shirt every day. Everything's purple. Now I've told you that, it's all you can think of whenever she's on screen.
So
Um,
she's the female Professor Plum. Is that what you're saying from Clue?
exactly.
Nice. Okay.
Um, yeah, it really is. But you're right. It really comes down to this relationship that Walt builds with Crazy Eight because he doesn't want to break bad, but he's realizing he might have no choice. And what's funny is he did it in the first episode, right? In creating that poison gas that killed Emilio, almost killed Crazy Eight, but he did it out of pure survival, right? It was fight or flight. That was his only option he had. But now he feels like he might have another option, and so he's fighting it, right? No one's holding a gun to his head unless he kills them. Um, it's a little different this time, but can't he can't get there, and he's having trouble with that whole idea. Um, which, all right, let's just jump into it because I think, at least for me, we're talking about the best scene of the episode, which is, like you said, potentially one of the best scenes of the whole show, and it comes up in the third episode. This showdown. I don't even know if you can call it a showdown between Walt and Crazy Eight, but it's when he just sits down, rolls him a beer, and says, "Let's talk. I just want to get to know you. I'm looking for any reason at all not to kill you."
Yeah.
Give me one. And just this moment where he can realize, Crazy is a normal person. He's a normal guy, and he wants to. He's saying all the right things, but at the same time, he's got that shard of plate in his back pocket, and you realize after that revelation that everything he has said so far is false, right?
Mhm.
None of it was genuine because he's just saying what he has to do to survive, and it's such a brilliant scene. And you might say the scene where he actually kills him is the better scene, but I think it's the one where he sits down and talks to him.
No, yeah, I agree. I wrote down the plate reveal too because it's
Mhm.
where like, okay, I'll go make you another sandwich or whatever. And like, or yeah, he goes back upstairs. And he's like, wait, he gets the plate out and he starts doing the pieces. He's like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And he just keeps repeating that. It's like, no, no, no. Why? Like, because he was like, I already made my mind was made up, but now I have to go to that dark place because you have forced me to go there again. And it's a kind of a gun to the head type of moment because he's like, no matter what he just played me, or he was
Mhm.
trying to play me. He tried to build on my kind of more sensitive side because he hasn't quite broke bad yet. And now I have to go to that dark place, and and that's why that shot for me is so powerful when he goes down that the basement, is because he is completely in that moment with a tear rolling down his face. That was kind of like one of his last, like, part of his humanity leaving him at the same time. It's like, well, now I have to go to that dark place and I'm going to have to kill another person just so that I can be able to survive in the world that I have created now. So it's somewhat successfully anyway, like, live here and have a successful kind of meaningful life because now I have to kill another person here just to be able to have that. Really, they all three of these kind of these moments like intersect with each other, but it is, if you pick them up, like play them out individually, they are kind of really brilliant how they are pieced together. So I really like the plate, the kind of reveal, because you can just see his mind start working at that time, and he starts like slowly breaking. It's it's kind of really fascinating, and what Bryan Cranston was able to do just proves that he was such an I probably at this time, I never watched this in 2008, but probably a really underrated actor at that time. Very underrated, and you knew that the guy from the Malcolm in the Middle dad, which is another show I didn't really watch a whole lot of back then, but who would have thought that he had such a range and such was able to go there, and I already know, I've seen the imagery, I've seen the gifs, I know that he gets to a darker place, but and he's a missed opportunity cast member of Oppenheimer. I get that with Heisenberg. I get that, but I'm looking forward to seeing that darker place slowly being developed. So Bryan Cranston, definitely in the running for one of like the better. Well, he's definitely probably in the conversation for best like TV performances for this one character. So I know that's in a lot of people's conversation, top 10 or whatever. So
Yeah, and it does slowly build
yeah, which is good.
throughout the show. Yeah. Uh, and what's great about the plate reveal scene is, like I was saying with the first episode, it was life or death for him.
Mm-hmm.
The plate reveal, it becomes life or death for him.
Oh yeah.
It's just now it's not this unknown face with a gun pointed to his head. He knows the face. That
Mm-hmm.
it's taken just that one more step. Um and uh and yeah, Bryan Cranston's amazing. The original casting, who they wanted. Have you heard who they wanted to play Walter White? They wanted
Jim
Matthew
Stiller.
Broderick.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
No, they
Matthew
wanted
Broderick.
Matthew
Wow.
Broderick,
Mm.
which wouldn't have worked. I can't see that working.
I'm sorry. Every time I see Matthew Broderick, I'm always thinking Ferris Bueller. So that's that. I can't see it.
I just mentioned recently that I saw that he gave an interview where he admitted and said he's content with the fact that his legacy as an actor will always be Ferris Bueller. So it's kind of it's not a bad thing that that's what you think of.
That is true.
All right, who's the biggest douchebag of this episode?
Marie.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That was the right answer. Okay, good. No, yeah, for me, it's her, because she's like, obviously there's a similarity I like that I do share. Like you kind of have that. You said love. You kind of love. They have that weird like relationship with that character, and there's something I really liked about that I can relate it to her. As I bite my cheek talking right now. Wow, that was fun. But Marie, I think that she's the biggest douchebag because obviously she hears a little snippet of what Skylar was saying and immediately associates it with somebody else. And even when Skylar is trying, and I get you, that's kind of human nature at the same time as when
She inferred it.
Inferred. um, but it's quite fascinating where she went, and then she gets her husband involved, and then at that shoe store. Yeah, it's kind of a douchebag move to, yeah, no matter even if you get treated poorly, you shouldn't be stealing. That's just kind of that's not right. So it's a character that I was like, yeah, when I'm thinking about this category, yeah, I think it's a pretty easy one for me to put down.
Yeah, that's a good call. It's definitely that's definitely a good one. And she's like, I love the conversation between her and Hank too. It's like, I don't know, show him some autopsy photos. Autopsy photos of a pot overdose.
That autopsy photos might be the dumbest thing said too.
That was pretty dumb.
From a
That
pot
was pretty
overdose.
dumb. I don't know. I've got some other ones that we'll get to too. But yeah, I had Marie written down. I mean, you could go maybe a couple different places, but I mean, you could say Crazy Eight was a douchebag and how he was playing Walt. Um, you, but it's Marie. That's really the only place you can go.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
All right, the Pink Man Stick Man Award.
You can smack his pink ass award. No, Jesse Pinkman. Anyway, it's Walter White.
Oh,
I'm going
okay.
Walter. Obviously, not the one who got it in actually, but in this episode, it's inferred. It's inferred that
Is it
he's a
inferred?
stick man. He's like, that's yeah, it's chemistry.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's chemistry.
Nothing but chemistry between us.
Carbon. We can't have carbon. We can't have it without carbon.
Calcium. What about calcium? There's a
That
whole skeleton of it.
only that low. That low. I love how it does overlap with them cleaning up the body. I thought that was a pretty clever way of doing it, and it's a very fascinating. He's a very fascinating. You don't see any stickman necessarily characteristics, but young Walter White, a young lady, some definitely chemistry is inferred there. So going with Walter.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I had down Crazy Eight's Uncle Alex, who wrote the Tampico furniture jingle and sings it at bars to get women.
That was that was the Adam pick. Pick somebody that they just mentioned the name of. Yeah, that was the Adam pick. Great, touche, my friend.
I mean, I don't know if it actually works, but he does try.
Hey, they don't have to be 10s every time. Come on,
It's the effort that counts.
They don't have to be 10s.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the right answer. I like that. The guy who plays music at bars.
I mean, you could go Jessie also. You could go Wendy. I mean, but if you have to ask the question, how much for a Wendy? I don't know if you can say she.
There was definitely a transaction made. I don't think that's worthy of this award.
All right. Speaking of Wendy, best new face.
It's definitely Wendy. It was one of my that I put down.
Yeah, Wendy definitely qualifies. I had a couple others down. I had Gretchen, which is the name of the girl in the flashback scene.
Mm-hmm.
According to the cast list, now, according to future episodes as well. Just a little teaser there. You don't go back to a moment like that and just leave it. It's got to come back. And then the other one I had written down was the sales girl that Marie steals from, because for most of the episode I thought it was Kaylee Cuoco. So,
I Yeah, I can see it. She has the same personality as Penny from
Hmm.
Penny from Big Bang. Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
if Kaylee Cuoco had a few more curves, it would be the sales girl.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Probably her sister. That's probably what happened.
There we go. That must be it. So Kaylee Cuoco's sister is, let's see here. She's actually built here, Anna Felix.
Anna.
Not many people build for this. Um, by the way, Wendy does not have a name yet in the cast list. She's just meth whore. That is how she is billed.
Her name is now the Stickman Award. The
All right.
Methor Award. The Methor Award.
Favorite minor character.
Favorite Walt Jr. in this episode.
That's who I had written down too.
Technically, he's a main character. I would say he's not. He's like a supporting character for sure. But who said we were going to Cold Stone Creamery? I was like, man, I want my my Mocha almond fudge love it size now. Great, that makes me want some Cold Stone.
What do you think of that? Cool.
Cool. Do you want to ask her anything? Not really.
Not really. Broke his leg playing football. Kid's got an arm like a howitzer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes Hank like a pretty good wingman.
Man things. Yeah. Yeah, I wrote him down. I could also say, I mean, if you're going minor, I love Gomi and the chemistry that him and Hank have. And them, once again, you haven't seen him much, but the second time you see him, he's fighting with Hank again about whether or not there's a trap door in Crazy 8's car.
Okay, this is totally a scene that Fast and the Furious 5 stole from this episode. Because they have, we just watched Fast 5 again, but you got Hobbs like arguing like, that's the car. Why were everything's put back together? Hobbs, like there's nothing here, and they're like, it's the same thing. It's the radio. There's like a little screen that pops in the middle of the dash that pops out. That's missing something. Yeah, I'm saying this conspiracy theory. Fast 5 stole from Breaking Bad. I'm just saying.
I'm like Rain Man counting my toothpicks.
Yeah, I can count on one hand.
All right, dumbest thing said.
Oh, this is the Sit and Spin Award. I think that's what we should call it.
The Sit and Spin Award or the Cow House Award.
Oh, that's a pretty good one. Yeah. Cow House.
Todd had a suggestion that we should change this one, or maybe it's another way of thinking about it, but not just the dumbest thing said, but the thing that exasperates Walt the most.
Oh, yeah.
Because the cow house thing is the thing that gets that look on his face. It's just like, what? Yeah. And sometimes he has those moments. Last couple episodes he hasn't had those moments, but there's still some good dumbest things said, and bonus points if it's something from Jessie. So yeah, the Sit and Spin exasperated Walt, dumbest thing said, however you want to think of it. What would you go with?
Well, I like it, like when Jessie did say something like it's the coin plays and you can like something with my like his ass or something like that. I was like, oh, it's like Jessie, like he has like a way. He's a wordist. He's a novelist when it comes to the human language. He just verbal diarrhea a lot of the time. But I really like Hank also has a way with this like the vocabulary. I love the line with the crack pipe. He's like, what are you? Yeah, he's like, show me your teeth. Show me your teeth. Yep, crack pipe. Yeah,
Right.
it's a gateway drug. Gateway drug. Yeah, and Walt's like, cool.
It's cool. Yeah,
and I think another dumb thing too is like, I'm not doing a minor. I was like,
he's a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good one too. Nah, get out of here. The one that I wrote down was from the scene with the coin also, where Jesse's talking about how horrible things have gone and how his house smells and all this stuff, and Walt says it's because you didn't listen to my instructions.
Oh,
and Heil Hitler, bitch. I mean, it's dumb, but it's also the perfect comeback. And I think it's the first time we've heard Jesse say bitch, which becomes his catchphrase. So, that was great. The other one was when Marie was complaining about her shoes to Skylar, and she says, "My arches are extremely archy,"
Oh,
and I'm
that
like, "That
yeah.
that was one where I just kind of went, what are you talking about?
She just
What are you saying?"
she should have said I have extremely high arches. That would have made
Exactly.
more sense. People talk that way, not the other way.
Exactly. Exactly. This is how normal people talk.
Yeah, they don't talk like a douchebag.
Uh,
Of the episode.
did you find anything outdated or any issues with this episode? I
Yeah,
have
I found
one
a
that I
big
want to discuss.
flaw actually.
Oh, big flaw. Okay.
In that the Wendy scene, when Wendy first approaches Walt Jr.'s side, you clearly see a shot where she puts her arm on top of the hood with nothing in her hands. When she leaves, there's like a root beer bottle like on top of the freaking trunk, the hood of the car. Where did that come from? And she just left it up there, like, and she didn't have anything when she walked
Interesting.
over,
Well, she was going to the vending machine though.
but she didn't have anything in her hands. That's the thing.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, I was like, wait a second. I vantage pointed it. I was like, rewind that, and I did.
Rewind that.
Yeah. That should be a clip, by the way.
It should be. I should put that on there. The Pinot winning quote from 2008. Yeah, my problem, uh, possibly my least favorite scene of like the entire show. I don't think those flashback scenes work. It accomplishes something and introduces you to this past life that Walt had, where there was another woman in his life where he was doing what felt like actual research instead of teaching high school chemistry. Um, but it just feels weird. And why are they're they're examining the chemistry of the body? I mean, this it just feels so trivial of a topic to use on that.
Well, Terry, some might call it a trivial topic. Others call it foreplay. Just
Oh, oh, well played, well played.
well, I don't know if that's even the case. I think they were trying to
And
be
you
really
couldn't even
creative with it.
you had to even like put Walt in the shadows because you knew you couldn't de-age him enough. I mean, it's it's weird. I've always those scenes I feel like take you out of the show more than any other scene
Hmm.
like in the show.
Yeah,
It's weird.
that's a good point. And then I also think too that another thing, Skylar says the comment like it's been 2 weeks, but we know it's hard to justify the time that has passed because
Mm,
how it's shot, it feels like it's hasn't been 2 weeks that he's lost. He quit his job at the car wash,
that's
and
interesting.
but because as you're watching it, I don't feel like it's been 2 weeks, especially how the second episode and the third episode are shot because it clearly there's you know he's down in the basement and there's a mess in the hallway and they're cleaning up the mess and it seems like it's shot back to back, like it's just a continuation of the previous episode. Granted, it could be a couple hours there, but it doesn't feel like there's 2 weeks from the car wash. Maybe, well, and I guess I would have to go back and rewatch that first episode again because there has been some time, but it feels more like this is what a week happened because it feels like it's just been so rushed and not really thought out as thoroughly. I think you would think things out more thoroughly if it's been a little longer than a week.
Yeah, that's a
I
good
don't know.
point. I think like the second and third episodes take place in the matter of like 24 to 48 hours.
Mhm.
Have to.
Mhm.
I think where the time happens is he quits the car wash like the day after he finds out he has cancer.
Yeah.
And so you have some time. The 2 weeks I think happened from that moment to going on the ride along to meeting Jesse to buying the RV to supplying the RV to uh to going on the cook to going and meeting Crazy Eight and Emilio to
Mm.
getting back out there. I think that's where there's a little more time. Like the first episode, I think you could say is 2 weeks.
Okay, so that makes sense, because I think the thing that would really tell the difference if they and I think it's just kind of knowing, is the planning of the ride along. If he he would have to schedule that ride along, right? You would think.
Mm,
So whatever the time frame from quitting the job to the scheduling with Hank, the ride along, it could be a week, or depending on the Hank's authority in the police force or whatever, he could have it right away. But that could be where like the time does last, because they just go from one scene to the next one. It's like that could be where it's at, maybe. And I think, if that's the case, we're probably looking more into this than we need to. But I think if that is the case, then that would make sense, the 2 weeks.
yeah,
But
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. The timeline is a little murky, and I didn't catch that line, but yeah, that is interesting. Okay, I had one thing that was outdated that I just have to mention, especially as a teacher. Wheeling in the TV cart. It's not a thing anymore. Everyone's got projectors and DVD players and all that stuff, or computers that can do it, or stream stuff, all that. There's no more wheeling in of the TV carts, but it is a great shout out to a bygone era.
it brought me nostalgia to some of my favorite days at school.
Exactly. All right, your Walter White midlife crisis moment.
I had to go out to Marie, getting annoyed at young people in the store. All right, I haven't had quite the experience that she had, but at the same time, I'm like, damn young people, and you and your Twitters and your book faces and all your like this. I'm like, man, was I that dumb when I was that age? Yes, I was, probably. Probably, but like I'm like, oh, it's like, man, what a year difference like 15 to 20 years makes. I'm like, man, I got my ducks somewhat in a row. At least it's a curved line, but it's a line nonetheless. But I'm like, man, at least young people hurt my head, give me a headache.
That's a good call.
I got an honorable mention after this if you don't say
Okay,
it, so.
all right. So mine is cleanliness is next to godliness. Walt, he empties the Crazy Eight's bucket into the toilet, and then sanitizes it before he gives it back to him. Then sanitizes his gloves with spray before he takes them off. It's just, I know. Have you noticed that, like, as you get older, stuff matters how clean it is now, where it didn't before?
Yeah,
Like,
that
that's
is
like a
true.
thing.
But as watching that, I kind of had a flashback to. I was like, am I at work right now? No. No one would get that joke unless you know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Yeah, that's a great call, though. Sprays down his, and then he does it. Yeah, that's a great call. I like that.
What was your honorable mention?
Doing important paperwork on the toilet. Because he's on the toilet, like doing some research or something or whatever. I'm like, yeah, that's the escape all room, I guess, now. As you get older.
That's a good one.
One. I know. I understand why my dad escaped there quite a bit now.
The only place in the house that's got some peace and quiet. All right, LVP, MVP, and then we'll talk about what's coming next, or if you know what's coming next. All right, LVP. I've got a couple different things here. I'll go one, then you can go yours, and I'll go with my other one. My LVP is forgetting your root beer. Because she gets back up to the room and says, "Oh, I forgot my root beer."
Oh, okay. That's where the bottle comes into play. Then
because she gets when she walks in and sees Jessie, she's like, "Oh man, I forgot my root beer."
Okay, I totally didn't catch that line. So then I was like, "That why did that thing just appear?" I didn't see anything in her hand, but maybe I don't know. Maybe
okay. She might have had it, and then she went straight to the roof and put it up there because she was kind of like hanging on it. It's possible.
Maybe.
All right. So what was your LVP?
Hank's intervention skills. He tricked a young man into going to Cold Stone Creamery.
Oh, they were still going to Cold Stone.
Oh, they
They were just taking a little side, little detour to the Crystal Palace.
Yeah, the Crystal Palace. No, he's like, "Oh, you want to be a pothead, huh? Well, you can't afford Cold Stone. We're going to Baskin Robbins." Yeah, the Crystal Palace is a pretty LVP place. I think Jesse's a pretty LVP in that moment too, because he just kind of abandons the post and like
What
leaves.
happened out there? What happened out there? Oh, he just some cop. It's like, what did he see me? No, I think he wanted some pot.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that's good. My other LVP is extended warranties.
Oh, that's a great call. We needed to shout that out actually.
If he gave you a glass of ice water, he'd try and sell you an extended warranty on the ice.
It's a good call.
Good.
I think a little flashback to that could be like a like midlife crisis moment, remembering old jingles like the Keel Mortgage one. Yeah, like remembering those old school jingles and like getting nostalgic over like remember how great like ads used to be, and now they're just like someone trying to sell you this bigger and better thing. Yeah,
The good old days.
Yeah.
All right, MVP. What's your MVP?
A shout out to Walt's puzzle skills because I'm glad he could put an 8-piece puzzle together really quick, somewhat quickly. But I'm going to give the MVP to Max Arziniga, who plays Crazy 8, because I feel like that was a Sean Bean memoriam performance there. Really awesome way he was able to. Great, one of the better. I think he rivals what Bryan Cranston did in this episode. He basically matched the performance level.
And he's a great character, and he
Yeah.
lasted 3 episodes, and now he's gone. But yeah, that's a great call. So I've got a couple things here. One of them, MVP, is killing Crazy 8, because if you start to put some things together, and you realize that little throwaway line at the end there, that Crazy 8 was their informant, because they find his car and it's like, what does it mean? I think it means that someone croaked our snitch. What was Crazy 8 going to say the next time he met up with Hank to snitch? There's this new guy on the street called Walter White. He's cooking up the finest crystal you could find. So like, Walt not letting him go, like that saved everything. That you don't realize in the moment, but that's what that means. My other MVP is Carbon. Important stuff.
You gave the same like attention to the how she said it as that teacher did with great enthusiasm. Yeah. Oh man. They're like the kids were like, "Oh, we miss Walt's lectures now."
Yes. Yes. Carbon. Important stuff. All right. Do you remember what's coming next? Because last time I asked you, all you remembered was Crazy 8.
I remember the conversation with Crazy 8. I did remember I can't remember her name, but that sequence at that hotel. I remember
Wendy?
that Wendy and Jessie, Jessie's girl named Wendy. I remember that, but I think I'm at the point now where I am tapped out on all my info.
Okay. So where do you think it's going next?
Well, I think it's hinted at that Walt's going to tell Skylar what's going on, but that's not going to be the case. I don't think that's going to be the case because, I just don't think that's going to be revealed on the 4th episode of a season.
Okay.
Walt Jr. does become a football star, and then also they're going to try to track down some of that really clear crystal, and I think obviously we're going to need to see some more cooking pretty soon. So I really don't know what could happen really next. I think It's so tough to say because now the main threat's kind of the one of the threats is kind of gone, so you don't know what's really out there quite yet.
The cooking will be interesting because they cleared out the RV, right? Walt cleaned up everything.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I don't even remember where all of it went, but yeah, it's all gone.
Maybe
So
Jessie becomes desperate and tries to get Walt to come back. That's probably what I can see that being the more likely scenario because he's trying to get his fix too, and Crazy 8 is dead, who gave him his fix.
mm.
That
So
could
it's
be
going to come back because Jessie needs it.
maybe.
Well,
At least
Jessie
that's the
can just go
original.
back to cooking on his own. I mean, Chili P, yo.
So, yeah, well, yo, 1 to the 8 to the 6, whatever the thing. Uh, he's had a steak dinner. Does he really want to go back to Chili P and cheeseburgers? Like you've had that the cream of the crop steak, tops, New York tenderloin.
It's a valid point.
You want the best, the goods, as it were.
Well, we'll be finding out. We're almost halfway through the first season. I don't know if you know this.
Wow.
This was a writer's strike shortened season.
Well,
I think all the other seasons except the last season's weird, but the other ones are 13 episodes. I think this
okay.
one's 7.
Well, it's definitely going to be interesting. I think so far it's starting to slowly build up steam, and I'm really building with great interest, seeing what's going to happen next with Walt, Jessie. I still not a big fan of Skylar. I think that could be an ongoing trend. I don't know that Anna Gunn. God bless you. What final thoughts there, Terry, as we wrap down this Breaking Bad?
I This is a great episode, and it, like you were saying, it's even having seen the whole show. This episode contains one of the most memorable moments of the entire show,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's crazy that you find a peak like this on the 3rd episode of your first season, but they did, and it's only going to get crazier.
That is very true. Really excited to see what happens in episode 4 next week. Make sure you guys are liking, sharing, and subscribing here wherever you're listening to your podcast. But also remember, we have a YouTube channel as well. So if you would like to chime in your thoughts, there's 2 places where you can do that. Either you can jump over to the YouTube feed, which I'm sure we're going to put down in the show notes down here, or check out our Twitter at Almost Sideways. We can also give you guys your Breaking Bad thoughts. Keep them bad. Yeah. Yes. With that said, go cook. We'll see you guys later.
Sit and spin.
Sit and spin, folks. Another midlife crisis moment. Trying to sound like Jessie to wrap up an episode. Not a good look for me.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo. But that was, yeah, wow. Anyway.